Welcome back. I'm Justin Slagle with Bryan Research and Engineering. We've modeled the test separator, but now let's get this connected with our database so we can get live data coming into our model. Follow me. We're going to start where we left off. We have a well fluid coming into our test separator here, and we're going to connect this with a database. The database I'm using is the Pi database. And what I want to do is connect my gas C7 plus molecular weight with my molecular weight in ProMax for my gas C7 plus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this one. I'm going to copy my cell. I'll go back into ProMax now. And the first thing I need to do in ProMax is connect this with the Pi database to begin with. I'm going to click on Data Exchange. I'm going to add source. Call this Pi. Choose Pi down here. Click OK. And now I need to find wherever I specified that molecular weight. If you remember, that is over here under Oil, All Oils, Gas C7 plus. Now I'm going to right click where that molecular weight should be written. Go down to Data Exchange, Import Pi. Now I'll name this Gas C7 plus molecular weight. Change this to Pi point mode. Make sure I select my server. That's my Pi server. And then paste in my Pi tag right here. Click Retrieve, and there is my gas C7 plus molecular weight. Now I want to do my specific gravity as well, but I need to go back into my Pi database, find my gas C7 plus specific gravity, right click on that one, copy cell, go back into ProMax, right click on that specific gravity, Data Exchange, Import Pi. Now I will paste that tag down here, click Retrieve. I'll move that over, give it a name. Gas C7 plus specific gravity. Click OK. Now I will click OK here, and then go to my next oil, Oil C7 plus. And I want to bring these two in from my database as well. So I'll go over here to my database, find my oil C7 plus molecular weight. Go back into ProMax, Data Exchange, Import Pi. Paste my tag. Oil C7 plus molecular weight. Click, bring it over, click OK. And then my specific gravity as well. Find it in Pi. There it is. Copy it, back over into ProMax, specific gravity, right click, Data Exchange, Import Pi. I will name this one Oil C7 plus specific gravity. Paste in my tag, pull it over, click OK. Now I have both of my oils coming in from my database. Next, let's see a composition. Let's do a composition for the gas here. So I will double click on the gas. I will go to my composition, right click on my composition, click Data Exchange, Import from Pi. And now I can bring in my composition. This one's going to be a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Pi. I'm going to find the tag for one of them. I'll go up to my gas here. I'll just get the tag for my first one, which is my methane here, my gas C1. Copy that cell. I will paste it right here. But instead of putting in all of it, I'm just going to delete it back to where it says gas. So I removed C1, I click retrieve, and now it's going to pull up everything that starts with that description. So I want to bring in C1 through C7 plus and my CO2. Bring all of those over. You can see it a little bit better this way. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to name each of these here. So when I first bring it in like this and it's numbered 0 through 7 here, it's going to put those in that order inside of ProMax. But that may not be the order that I actually have my components in. So what I can do, instead of having a number over here for the order, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it whatever the composition is and whatever the component is in ProMax. So for the gas C1 there, I'm going to type in right here, C1. For the next one down, this one will be C2. And this one here, I need to make sure that it is exactly the way it is in ProMax for my oil that I bring in there, which I believe I call it gas C7 plus. And this one here is my CO2. I'll call this one CO2. I will click OK down here. Oh, I need to name it first. This will be my gas composition. Click OK. And now, if I click Execute Project here, all of these should change to be whatever it is in the database. So I'll click Execute. And now you'll see that these values are coming in from my database now. I'm going to come back and do my flow rates in a little bit, but let's go ahead and do the temperature and pressure of my test separator. So let's go find in the Pi database where my temperature is. In the Pi database, I'm going to have this one here. So what I'm looking at is my facility A, and I want to find my high pressure separator temperature and pressure. So I'm going to scroll down until I find my high pressure separator temperature and pressure right here. So I'll copy this one. Now I'll go back over to ProMax, double click on the stream, right click. Let me bring this over here so you can see it a little bit better. Right click on it, Data Exchange, import from Pi. Call this one HP Sep T. Paste in my tag. Hit retrieve. There it is. Click OK. If I click execute here, you should be able to see my temperature change. Sure enough, it did. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my pressure. Data Exchange import from Pi. I'm going to name this one HP Sep P for the pressure. I will paste the same tag I had in there, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that T, and I'm just going to put a P. Retrieve. And there it is, my production separator pressure. Click OK. And now if I click execute, that should update as well. So now I have my temperature, my pressure, and my composition coming in from the database. But there are two pieces that I haven't done yet. I have not done my flow rates, and I have not done my oil composition yet. So let's go ahead and do the oil composition, and then after that, we're going to do the flow rates. So I'm going to double click on my oil. I'm going to go to composition. Then inside of here, I'll right click, Data Exchange import from Pi. oil composition. I'll go back over into my Pi database. I'll find my oil. So that's well 1, C1 right here. So I'm going to copy that cell, paste it here, but I'm going to remove that C1, click retrieve, and I'm going to add in all of these, and then the CO2. I'll move those over. Now I'll need to rename these. C1. So remember, this one has to be exactly the way it is in ProMax. So I'm going to do oil C7 plus. For this one will be CO2. Click OK. Now if I click execute here, it should bring this in. There we go. That's all coming in from my database now. So now this is going to be very close to what I have in the field, except for one major thing, and that is going to be my flow rates. So if you remember before, I have a flow rate coming in that is controlled by a solver. So if I go to my flow rate from my gas here, you'll see that this is great. It has a blue box over it, which means that there's a calculator associated with it. So what I need to do is I need to do 2 steps. I need to create some user value sets, and then I need to change this calculator. So I'm going to go to my user value sets and click add on that one. And I'm going to add some user values inside of here. So these are going to be the standard vapor volumetric flow. I'll go ahead and name this one my gas flow. And then I'm going to bring in another one for my oil flow. So I changed this to standard liquid volumetric flow. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to do one more for water flow. I don't need to hold it anymore, so I'm going to deselect that and click OK. And so now I have these 3 pieces in here. Well, I know that my flow rate is actually in 1,000 standard cubic feet per hour in my database, and I can show that to you in a little bit. My oil is going to be barrels per day, and my water is going to be barrels per day. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right-click inside of these and connect these with my database. So I will right-click here for the parameter, data exchange, import from Pi. Now I need to go into my database, find my tag for that flow rate. So this will be the gas flow rate for well 1. So I need to find that one here. HP separator gas Q, that'll be my flow rate. And that is right up here. You'll see 1,000 standard cubic feet per hour. That's the flow rate for it. Those are the units. So I'm going to right click on that one, copy cell, go back over here to ProMax, paste this in, bring that over, name this one gas flow, click OK. And if I click execute here, it should bring that in. So I've got that value coming in from my database. And I'll do the same thing for my oil. I can just paste in my other one. Instead of having it be gas there, I can replace that gas with the word oil. Click retrieve. And now I have that flow rate right here. I'll name this oil flow. Click OK. Click execute here. And now you'll see my flow rate there. Now I'll do one more for my water. Data exchange. Import from Pi. Paste that same tag in there. And I will change it from gas to water. I will name this one water flow. Click OK. Click execute here. It's a good check to make sure I'm bringing a value. I sure enough am. So I'm going to close this now. And now I'll go back over to my gas. I will double click on that solver that I have there. And then now what I'm going to do is click simple solver down here. I'm going to change this from a quick solver to a simple solver. And essentially what I need to do is I need to replace this value right there of 1 to whatever my user value says that it is. So what that means, I need to add one more variable down here for my user value. So I'm going to click add. I'm going to go find my user values. I've got my gas flow here. I have my parameter. So I'll call this the measured gas. And I'll click add. You'll notice that these units are inconsistent with one another. So I'll go ahead and just change my measured gas to million standard cubic feet per day. Click add there. It automatically does a unit conversion for me. Now what I'll do is I'll just copy this and I will paste it over that 1. And so now I can close this, re-execute this, and now this should represent what I have from my database. I'm going to do the same thing for my oil now. Double click on that one. Go to my properties, double click on that oil flow rate, change it to a simple solver, add another measured variable here, go to my user value sets. Now I want my oil flow parameter, and this will be my measured oil. I'll add that one in. I will copy this and I will replace my 100. I can close this now, execute my model. I should iterate a few times and then now it's going to be what I have in my database. Same thing for my water. Double click here, change that to a simple solver, add in another variable. I will choose my water flow now, choose parameter. I will call this measured water. Copy this, replace my 100 with this value, close this, execute flow sheet. And now I have my model that was all done by hand. Now it can be automated to be any value that is in the database. So I can update this to any time I like. I can go back in time. I can make this update every 10 minutes for me, every 5 minutes, every hour, every day, whatever I like at this point. But now it is connected with my database.